Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer, joined by the great Justin Fan from Underdog Fantasy, along with Mike Gallagher from Established Run. 14 games. This is our Christmas present to all of you out there celebrating the holidays. We'll be here for a while talking injuries. Justin, how are you on this fine Friday?
Doing well. Good to have you back in the mix, Dink. Missed you last week. But man, I was doing some research for this injury show, and it just took me like 10 to 15 minutes just to write out all the injuries before even getting into it. So a huge slate. We got some new ones added this morning. Don't want to waste a lot of time. We got a lot to dive into.
Yeah,
How's
Mike,
everyone?
how are you?
Don't even ask me how I'm doing. I'm fine. Let's just go.
All right, let's get into it. Let's start off with the key tags. Clippers, John Wall, questionable tonight. Really the only notable name on an injury report that has been littered with injuries for the last few weeks. So that's good to see. Right ankle sprain for John Wall. What are your thoughts here, Justin?
Yeah, I don't have a big read on this. In the past, we liked Reggie Jackson's minutes without John Wall, but this is a different spot. They're healthy now. He is the only person on the injury report. Reggie minutes the last two games without John Wall, 26-31. So wouldn't expect him. He got up to like 41 one of those games, 36 one of the other games. So, they have a lot of depth now. And we saw Ty Lue ran a 9-man rotation the last game that John Wall missed. So should be Reggie, PG, Kawhi, Morris, Zubac again, and then Kennard, Norm Powell, Terrence Mann, and Nick Batum in that 9-man rotation if Wall ends up missing. But yeah, Luke Kennard's playing extremely well. Ton of talk around the Clippers beats about how he's being underutilized, how he needs to be more aggressive, how he's like one of the best shooters in the league. He's been playing extremely well, so expect him to take on a bigger role if John Wall ends up missing.
Yeah, so Wall, he had in the first half, he had a real light tweak. Like he almost kind of stumbled over his own foot, and he turned his ankle just slightly. So it was pretty minor. If it was anyone else, I'd be like, he's for sure playing, but it's John Wall. So a little bit of trepidation there. And yeah, to the Kennard point, Ty Lue was asked about him being, he's called him a top 10 shooter, and he would be a top 2 shooter if he shot the ball more and hunted shots more. So, Luke Kennard 3-point narrative against a defense where you really need the space. The Sixers defense has been freaking fantastic. So, but I think Wall's in there today. We'll see.
All right, keeping it moving. Quentin Grimes for the Knicks, questionable tonight. He got kind of upgraded a little bit before the game to more of a game time decision last time, but still wasn't really able to go. We speculated last time that they should just take as much time as they need with Quentin Grimes because he's had a difficult time staying healthy, and when he's been healthy, he's been a difference maker for this Knicks team so far. Justin, do you have any read on his availability tonight against the Bulls?
Tibbs was asked pregame Wednesday if he had any word on Grimes' availability for today, and he said he had no update. So don't have a ton on Grimes. Obviously, he hurt that ankle right before halftime on Tuesday. That Ty Jerome flyby that got that flagrant, and then returned the second half and played through it. So, don't have a ton on Grimes. I think we'll get into some spots later where we have some context. But, we saw IQ got the start for Grimes on Wednesday, played 35 minutes. Tibbs played a really tight rotation. I didn't play a ton of Deuce McBride, which is a little surprising, only 14 minutes. There was some word actually pregame on Wednesday that Tibbs was hinting at him playing an 8-man rotation. So you kind of saw it. With Derrick Rose got back in rotation nominally, only played 8 minutes. So huge minutes again in this spot if Grimes ends up missing for the starters. We saw Barrett get all the way up to 46, IQ 35, Jalen Brunson 39. So I would expect a little bit more of the same. We know Tibbs' track record with this. So he's going to lead on those starters and those vets ahead of guys like Deuce McBride.
Yeah, Dink set the line at 1.5 players over 40 minutes in this Raptors-Knicks game, and the over hit pretty hard with 4 guys getting there.
It's a Spider-Man meme between Tibbs and Nick Nurse.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I think he's got a chance to play Grimes, but that was interesting. That it was really weird. You mentioned that 8-man that one of their beats noted, and there's like a gazillion Knicks beats, and there was only one that really noted that. So that was just odd. But anyways, we could move on.
Yeah, also strange that it was Rose that was the 9th guy and not Reddish, not a wing, which is one of the reasons RJ Barrett's minutes got up to 46 compared to like Brunson.
It kind of makes sense though. You basically, that's kind of how I expected it. You're basically putting IQ in the Grimes role, and then you're putting McBride in the IQ role, and then you're putting Rose in the McBride role, playing the non-Brunson minutes.
Yeah, and we've talked about this on the show in the past. There's been better spots for Reddish to get back in the rotation. I think he's just being held out entirely until he gets traded. So I just don't think he's part of the rotation. Even if they get thin, they're gonna look other. They got Speed Mahalik on the rotation one of those games. Like he's just way buried and not traded.
Yeah, good note there. Yeah. Clint Capella.
Should note really quick. There's Mitch Rob got kicked in the leg, and we saw his minutes get cut a little bit, but he's okay, not listed.
All right, Clint Capella questionable tonight for the Hawks. He's missed the last few games. What are your leans here, if any? Mike, I'll start with you.
Should have I missed I wasn't on the beat too close to that. Yeah, Fan, why don't you take the lead with that?
So Capella participated in shoot around on Wednesday, and he said on the broadcast on Wednesday, they had him on the Hawks broadcast that he was targeting a return today. So I would expect him back in the lineup today after missing the last couple of games. Obviously kicks Kongwu back to his reserve role. But that's the expectation that he should be back today.
After Kongwu finally hits,
I know
no one expected him to start because they had started Collins before. Shocker Kongwu, very bad. Contrarian Kongwu, apparently quite good. But yeah, Capella back in the rotation should obviously impact Kongwu and also impacts the ceiling for John Collins as those minutes keep slowly crawling along.
Yeah, they had a 20 cap on him when Collins returned, and apparently a 21 cap minutes per cap. So he's getting 22 minutes today, right in pen.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, and on the flip side, DeJounte's minutes have been ridiculous. 39 minutes per game in his last two. Has not affected Trae Young one iota. 35 plus usage rate each of those two games. Love the matchup against the Pistons. Shitty, I'm going to curse today, pick and roll defense. Gotta get some curses out on a 14-game slate.
All right, Boston, Time Lord and Marcus Smart on the injury report today. Smart probable, Time Lord questionable, illness related, so not knee related, which is good for Time Lord. But do you have any read here, Justin?
I mean, late morning, add to the injury report, never super promising. Smart, I think, will definitely play. He went through shoot around and got upgraded to probable. That's almost a clear sign that he's on track. So yeah, Peyton Pritchard got the start. He'll be kicked back to the bench. We'll note that Malcolm Brogdon 30 minutes in each of the last three games. We're starting to finally see his minutes really ramp up after early. Austin Reeves being questionable. We'll get to that later. Just came in, but early season, Brogdon was like very limited, low mid-20s, and now they're kind of starting to let him go. So good to see there. Time Lord, if he misses, would be more Grant Williams, would be more Luke Cornett. Grant Williams season low 16 minutes on Wednesday, so should see his minutes get back up if Time Lord is out.
Too soon. We had an under on him on Grant.
We
Williams.
lost.
We lost.
We chose poorly. We chose PR instead of P. P would have hit, but.
Yeah,
sad. The thing I'll note about Brogdon is those minutes are increasing. It coincides with a period where the Celtics offense has really struggled quite a bit, and obviously Tatum was out for one of these games, and Smart was out for one of these games. So there's some injury stuff that's like funneling the minutes up a little bit, but it's also they haven't been the elite offense they were the first 25 games of the season, the last 5 games or so, and it looks like they're trying to generate a little bit more offense through Brogdon.
The difference,
take it a step further. They're dead last in their last 6 games. They're ranked 30th at 103 points per 100. They're shooting 29% on wide open threes. And I was looking at their late clock shooting. With under 4 seconds, they have a 20 effective field goal percentage, like 8 shots. Under 7 seconds, it's terrible. So those two things have been really affecting their offense.
Yeah, they were short in the start of the season too in some spots where they were missing guys, and they were very disciplined still with Brogdon. Yep. So they're for sure. I think there's a definite change where there's opportunities that come up. They haven't really gone too much. They could have played Pritchard like mid 20s minutes.
Yeah.
20s. They only played him 17 and played Brogdon the 30 even.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean. For sure, his minutes are going to scale back as they get healthier, but they're up there to stay. I think.
And there's a chance that they're still scaled up even when they are healthy, because like he wasn't able to play this much earlier in the season for whatever reason. We don't know what their intended role for him is. It could be 28, 29 instead of the 24, 25. So we'll find out more information as they continue to get healthier.
Can I something
Rudy
super
Gobert-
quick and just to get your guys' thoughts? I mean, I feel like Malcolm Brogdon 6-man's a pretty good bet. He's like 5-1, and there's such fluidity in these guys coming and starting with like obviously Westbrook's going to be a contender, but Poole's starting a bunch. Christian Wood might start a little bit now. Benedict Matherin's a rookie. Like I feel like there's pretty good footing for Brogdon to really stake his claim as a 6-man of the year right now.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I have a preseason with you.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Perhaps
just
biased.
piling
I'm pumping
on.
my own bags. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep. Yeah, it doesn't work like that, Gallagher. You can't pump your own bags on an award that someone else is giving out.
Yeah.
All right, on to Minnesota. Gobert and slow-mo questionable tags. We have seen a lot of these questionable tags from Minnesota. Months ago from Minnesota questionable tags, you're like, they're all fake or whatever. Now these questionable tags, the guys seem to be missing games. What's your read here on the Timberwolves big men tonight, Justin?
Yeah, so Gobert played 38.2 minutes on Wednesday in his return from 3-game absence. He said afterwards that he felt great, a little sore, but strong. Feeling my win was really good. So would expect that this Q tag to be more precautionary, just given how much he played and how his post-game comments. So would expect him to go. The Anderson situation is a little bit more fluid to me because I will say what was good. He's a game time decision on Wednesday, just so it doesn't seem too far off. But the comments from Finch kind of beforehand were very concerning. He was, he's saying like he was playing through soreness and tightness in his back. And Finch had to keep his minutes low and his run shorter because he was so limited. He was still in some pain. So as he said, he was actually surprised that he played in the previous 2 games before he started sitting out. So Kyle Anderson, I think, is way more iffy in this spot than Rudy Gobert. Gobert, I think, should be able to go after he returned last game.
Yeah, he aggravated it on I want to say the 17th, 18th, whatever. It was like a week ago. So I think that's affecting him, and could definitely keep him out. But yeah, echo everything you said.
Cavaliers side, Evan Mobley and Lamar Stevens questionable. Whenever the Cavaliers are on a Friday slate, Gallagher, we kick it to you.
I don't have it, man.
With Mobley and Stevens. Oh no,
the road trip.
Oh
the
no,
road trip. No,
if fan has it, you're in trouble here.
No, I'm not in trouble. I looked. They're on the road, so we don't get we're not getting the same quality of starters jerseys. So
yeah,
I'm not canceled yet.
I know. I was actually thinking about just DMing one of the Cavs beat guys just to get a scoop, so I can.
Nice. Oh man, big time in me, dude.
It's not going out, but we don't have much. But yeah, Evan Mobley, I will say, this is very delayed. But 4 games ago, they played the Pacers, and he banged knees with Isaiah Jackson. And that was noted. He was limping a little bit, but stayed in. Obviously, he hasn't missed a game since. He's played every game this season. So I don't know if it was related to that. That was 4 games ago. But that's the only knee thing I could find on Evan Mobley. Obviously, we know Lamar Stevens missed the last 3 games with that knee soreness, and Isaac Okoro has started all 3 games, 26, 30, 25 minutes in those starts. But if we don't really have a sample with Evan Mobley out, so it's kind of interesting to see where they go with this. Kevin Love started without Jared Allen, but that's a little different. We've seen Lamar Stevens get the start at the 4 before in spots when they've been short. So if he's able to go, I could see them going Okoro and Stevens if Evan Mobley is out. So yeah, I mean, Bickerstaff played an 8-man rotation, pretty tight on Wednesday. Love, LeVert, Jetty Osman off the bench. So I don't think we have a ton. There's pretty clear what the options are. If Evan Mobley has to miss time, I don't think we'll kind of see a random Diakite spot start. So yeah, I kind of think we'll see. What do you guys think? If Evan Mobley is ruled out here, and let's say Lamar Stevens is ruled out too, who would you say is the favorite to start in Mobley's place?
I would probably. I mean, I think Diakite makes some sense. And kind of throw him sacrificial lamb against
we talked about the Galaxy brains last couple of days.
Is that Galaxy branding it? I mean, he started before. They clearly
yes.
Yeah, I mean, they from an offensive perspective, Love makes a ton of sense. There was a lot of comments from Bickerstaff saying that he liked him off the bench to kind of provide a spark, quote unquote. But I mean, you really want weak side spot up shooting against his defense. So from an offensive standpoint, I would for sure say Love. From a defensive, and we've seen Love's minutes get elevated coming off the 29-minute game. So I think it's probably Love, honestly, and just lean into your offense.
I think it's probably Love, and then you just introduce Diakite or Rolo as the backup center, and eat the 10 minutes or whatever you're not gonna play Jared Allen there, and then it would really help the ceiling on minutes for Okoro and Osman and Levert if they were in that situation, because those are basically the only guys that are going to play 3 and 4 spots, right? So
if it's just Mobley, would they start both?
Yes,
Lamar and Okoro.
I would think so, and that's
that is some usage.
Yeah. I know. But I think they would, because they've started Lamar at the 4 before in these lineups.
100%.
The other thing the other thing I note there is the matchup, right? The matchups with Toronto, which is a team that is the worst half-court offense in all of basketball outside of Houston, essentially. And so, how do you stop Toronto? You just limit the fast break, right? If you have more athletic guys who can get back, as opposed to Kevin Love, you've got a better shot at stopping them. And you don't need Love's rebounding. The scoring obviously would be helpful, but I mean, if you want to clamp down on Toronto, all you have to do is stop transition. And the Okoro-Stevens combination would be the best combination for them to do that, I think.
And should add, the Cavs have been taking care of the ball a lot. Their turnovers have been held in check for a couple weeks here, so it's pretty. I wanted to bet against Toronto. They're so unpredictable. They're so hard to bet. Never really know what team you're going to get, which I guess could transition us to them right now.
Yeah. So on the Toronto side, you've got Kem Birch and Gary Trent on the injury report here. It's not only the injury report with Toronto. It's trying to figure out who's going to start, who's going to play 40 minutes, who's going to start and play 20 minutes. It's just, outside of the main guys, outside of Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, and Fred VanVleet, it is just, who knows? It's a free-for-all each and every game based on hot hand and rotations. Justin, do you have any insight into Gary Trent Jr.'s availability with the continued soreness issue with the quads?
I did some digging last night. I couldn't find much. I was kind of annoyed by the lack of Gary Trent information. All I found.
Did you find the doctor tweet?
Did I find the doctor? What do you mean the doctor tweet?
I commented on this on Wednesday's show, but there was a doctor that tweeted that basically said, like, with Gary Trent Jr., because there was a tweet about, like, Nick Nurse being frustrated that it was in one quad and then it transitioned to the other quad that he was having issues with, and they were like kind of confused at what was going on. And this one doctor tweeted that, like, muscular issues after a specific type of virus is like a very common thing.
Are you talking like a fantasy Twitter doctor?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I want to know, how deep did you get? I mean, it could be a QAnon doctor. I have no idea.
And what any of those guys have to say 90% of the time. Sorry, like, from your couch, I don't need you to diagnose and tell me more about some muscular injury that you probably have no idea about. Sorry, like, no offense, but what I heard, I mean, there was some word about quads, like plural. I've seen that kind of flowing around. But all I really saw was, like, Nurse commented on Sunday, which is obviously a bit ago, about how discouraged he was with the lack of progress around Trent's recovery. That's the last, like, I've heard on him. So I have no idea. This is like a sore quad. You figure it's like day to day, but I think there's a good chance he misses today too. Just given the lack of information. And the lack of like encouraging reports from the Beats or Nick Nurse. But I think the question here is, who starts out of Trent Jr. or Juancho Hernan-Gomez if both are healthy, or if Trent Jr. is healthy. I think Christian Coloco probably out of the rotation entirely now, especially with Kem Birch nearing a return. He's been just a nominal starter when he has been going. So if Trent Jr. does end up playing today, would you lean him starting, or would you lean Juancho starting?
I put Juancho. I just think, I mean, you mentioned the frustration. I think Nurse, he's so tempted to play guys big minutes. I think naturally bringing him off the bench, he would check his minutes that way. So I think this makes sense. And I mean, Juancho's first half minutes were outrageous in the Knicks game. Did get curtailed quite a bit, didn't close, but I think it would be Juancho regardless.
Yeah.
Gary Trent's availability.
So I would say if Trent was fully healthy and they were confident in the situation, I think it would be Trent, just because I think they'd want to match the defense against Mitchell and Garland. But I think it's it's very unlikely that they'd be very confident based on all the reporting that we've seen so far. And the thing you have seen over the last few games is Malachi Flynn earn a much bigger role. He ended up closing the game over Juancho. I could see that happening tonight, for matchup purposes, just needing some scoring from the outside. Obviously, this is dependent on Mobley's availability too, in terms of how the matchup shapes up, but could see some of that as well.
On top of Malachi taking minutes from Juancho, he took minutes from Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes had a really bad game.
Scotty Barnes, like his plus minus of the last little bit has been absolutely brutal. And Scotty's my guy. I gave a lot of shit for it because with the Evan Mobley.
I'm feeling very good that I got sniped on Scotty Barnes there, because
I know.
it's been a tough year.
Who looks way better.
Yeah, it's been tough. All right, let's move on to another one of your guys, Justin, on the injury report. Tyrese Halliburton, along with Aaron Naismith and Taylor Terry for Indiana tonight. Halliburton was an ad today, I believe.
He was yesterday.
He was last night.
Okay, he was yesterday. Okay, right wrist soreness for Halliburton. I always get nervous around the Q tags on guys like right before the holidays, just because I kind of feel like guys are a little checked out and like ready for the day off, ready for the break. But Halliburton plays through everything. So Justin, you're a guy. I'll let you take the lead here. He's been crushing it. What's your read on Halliburton tonight?
Yeah, so I did a little digging. So Halliburton's 5 for 6 so far this season playing through the Q tag. So he pops up, and there's spots before that I thought he'd sit. I think
some of those were really bad Q tags too. That he played through that we thought were like more doubtful tags.
Agreed. So short right wrist, it's a shooting wrist. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's soreness that he's going to play through it. So would expect him to give it a go. Neesmith don't have much on his injury as well. We've seen him start 4 of the last 5 games over Jalen Smith. So let's talk if some of these guys miss. So, we've seen Halliburton miss, and we see Andrew Nembhard basically take on the Halliburton role with massive usage, massive potential assists, all basically like all touch time, all the everything for Andrew Nembhard. So he'd be the biggest winner for me if Halliburton ends up missing. We see probably TJ McConnell get the start, and then Benny Matherin get a little bit more run off the bench. If Neesmith has to miss the time, I would assume Jalen Smith moves back in the starting lineup. And we'd see more like O'Shea Brissett, Isaiah Jackson behind Miles Turner. And then, curious also on Chris Duarte's minutes, like 14 and 15.
I was just going to say that if Naismith was out, I kind of wonder, because Duarte came back and he played well.
Yeah.
He's not been in the favor of Rick Carlisle all season long. Gallagher would be able to comment more if there were any comments on Duarte's play, but that was a really good game from him. 14 and 3 in 15 minutes. And he's in my opinion, a better player than Neesmith. So that role would seem to have opportunity to continue to increase. But Gallagher, did you get any coaching quotes from Carlisle that would indicate either way?
No, he only talked about Andrew Nembhard.
He's dead. You didn't even talk about. Did you even say anything good about Chris Duarte?
Yeah, he didn't have anything. He talked about Nembhard, Tyrese Halliburton changing the trajectory of the franchise. I love that quote, and he has for sure. And Aaron Neesmith, but that was because he was returning to Boston. So, I'm pretty much echo. Could I be full me and be like, yo, start Terry Taylor off of this 46-point G League game, man? He earned it. You got to play that, man. Well, I think they like the. Well, they like
the depths that you will go to watch bad basketball.
I didn't watch it, but I mean, guys scored 46 in the G League. How am I not going to talk about it?
This is unbelievable.
I have a brand to protect here, guys. I feel less sure about Jalen Smith starting. Is kind of my point.
Brissett could get the start.
Yeah, Brissett would probably be the favorite, or Benny Math. I mean, they like Carlisle talked about him off the bench, etc. We've seen him go there too, so he would really benefit, kind of regardless.
I think we need to do a G League my guy expansion draft.
Oh, man. I'm so in.
I thought that's what Gary was doing the whole draft.
Gary's crushing, man. Gary's got a lot of dudes.
All right. On the opposite side of Indiana, they're playing Miami tonight. Jimmy Butler's probable here. Gabe Vincent questionable. Caleb Martin questionable. Dedmon probably, Udonis questionable, but Gabe Vincent, we haven't seen him in a long time. Do we see him tonight? Do we see finally like the Heat relatively fully healthy? Lowry's not on the injury report. Hero's not on the injury report. Bam's not on the injury report. Jimmy's probable. This seems like as good as it gets. Justin, I know you are intimately following the Heat's injury reporting.
We're going the right direction, baby. Please go from all 16 to we might get whittled down here. So, yeah, I mean, first time Vincent's been listed anything other than out since missing time. He's missed the last 8 games with that left knee injury. So really encouraging for him to be upgraded to questionable ahead of time. And we should see, either an 8 or 9 man rotation. Obviously the starters will be Lowry, Hero, Jimmy, Caleb, and Bam. If Caleb isn't able to go, we'll see Max Strus in there. And then that bench should be Oladipo, Vincent, and Dedmon if Vincent's able to go. So I'm just going to stay optimistic here just because I want my workload to continue to be, cut as much as possible and say, I hope Vincent is able to go. And I hope all these guys are, the healthiest they've been in years. And we don't get Udonis Haslam, Achilles, anyone injury report nominally. And then we just got to deal with Heat West now, which is, I guess, becoming the Portland Trailblazers, who continue to list 5 guys probable. Drew Eubanks and Josh Hart are forever probable. They're the new LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Mike, can you pick up any notes on Gabe Vincent?
No, but this is the thing he heard a while ago at shoot around, and we were like, holy crap, because this was the day Gabe Vincent's a lock. He popped up as questionable. Yep. Like, okay, he's out for a month now.
Yeah.
Typical Heat fashion. But no, I think Justin covered the note stuff. How about we talk? He didn't play in the G League last time.
I swear to God, if this is a G League reference.
No, he has played in the G League. We might as well call him Haywood Locksmith because he was a lock for people the last game, 41 minutes. Spo talked him up like crazy after the game. Said he was struggling with the shot, but he was playing well. It was like a high Smithathon.
That was probably the best game of his career last game.
Yeah,
I'm still tilting that because he was the slate changer, and I did not have very much of Haywood Highsmith. Did not expect 41 minutes out of him, or 4 for 4 shooting, or 4 steals. It was just the nuts. Do you think he played well enough that if Caleb Martin was out, he could start?
Not start, but I mean he could crack the non-Calebs. I mean, you certainly they're going to have.
He would have to start over Max Strus, which I don't think is happening.
Yeah,
right.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they have. Yeah. They're going to have Jimmy and Lowry and.
Yeah. I was just saying if Caleb Martin was out, I mean they played the same.
I think the question you'd ask is, could he cut into Duncan Robinson? They do need 3-point shooting, but that's something that I think that they'd want to look at.
Just as long as nobody cuts into Oladipo, because Oladipo is my secret agent on all these Miami unders that I'm fading. So as long as nobody cuts into Oladipo, I'm good. Nice. Keep running out Victor out there.
Yeah.
Those -14s. Love to see it.
Yeah.
All right. On to the Pelicans on the second night of back-to-back. Pelicans last night were without Zion. They're still without Brandon Ingram. They're without Zion again tonight. They're without Larry Nance last night. He's listed as questionable. And now CJ McCollum is on the injury report as questionable, which if we get a game without CJ McCollum, without Zion, without Brandon Ingram, there's going to be a whole lot of usage available that we would expect Jonas Valanciunas to eat most of, but still a lot of other usage available for Justin Fans guy Trey Murphy to potentially eat up as well. Justin, what's your read? Any insight on CJ McCollum tonight and Nance? Nance, the questionable tag seems a little shaky to me.
Yeah, I mean, Gallagher and I were DMing, a lot yesterday about Nance, and we both thought he was on the doubtful side of that Q tag, and would expect we kind of carry that sentiment in the second leg of the back-to-back. I think he's probably out tonight too again. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything on CJ last night. To where I thought the injury.
I mean, questionable flame throwing. He was just awesome last night.
Yeah.
He was great. He just put that game away.
I think it was more like the Jimmy Butler, meme where he's hunched over and exhausted after all that usage.
27 shots in 37 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have too much of a read on CJ, but yeah, like you mentioned, they'd be incredibly shorthanded in terms of shot creation. If CJ has to miss this one, we'd see Jose Alvarado, I guess, slide in the starting lineup for CJ McCollum, and a lot more Dyson Daniels, a lot more of my guy Trey Murphy. I don't know if that changes like Herb Jones's output a ton, but obviously he'd have to take on a larger role as well. But yeah, I mean, Dyson Daniels and Devontae Graham would have to obviously play bigger roles.
Yeah. Trey Murphy, man, your guy, unfortunately. He shot more 2-pointers than 3-pointers for the first time in 8 games. And that's certainly not a coincidence here. So I would expect him to pick on. Talked about this on the DFS show. He could score, man. Like he's been slotted into this catch and shoot role because there's other guys who create offense. He's capable. So he would really, really benefit here. And I'd be really excited to see him in that role in a matchup. I think he'd be like, okay, I'd be curious to see how the Dort thing handles there. And God, Valanciunas, how did we not hit that freaking over yesterday, man? He only had 7 paint touches, just a little bit above average foul yesterday. And then fouling, like, oh God, but still,
the usage was good. 28% usage for Valanciunas, very healthy.
If I get 14 shots for Valanciunas to get over 16.5 points, I'm taking that each and every day of the week. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, he would be in a great spot again. Obviously, OKC's been very, very vulnerable to interior scoring and offensive rebounding, and they don't have anybody that has the size to match up with Joe Val. Yeah. So this could be a monster Joe Val spot tonight. And I will just continue to note that Alvarado is the guy who's most likely to slide into that starting role for McCollum and play a bunch of minutes and whatnot. But if you're looking at guys to pick up usage on this roster, Devontae Graham can do that. He has done that in a starter's role, in a starter's capacity before in the league. He has been iced out of this rotation largely because of CJ McCollum, just because him and CJ do kind of the same things, and they can't really play them together very much because of defensive limitations. So if CJ was out, I think there's a really good path for Devontae Graham to be a really interesting GPP play as a pivot off of Alvarado, who would be massive chalk in the scenario that Alvarado starts and CJ's
out. And you look at that second unit, if you move Alvarado in that starting lineup, like there isn't much competition for shots in that second unit really. So
it's just a lot of pick and roll with Devontae Graham and Willie Hernangomez,
exactly. Yeah, we'll mention Kyra Lewis got recalled, but I think he's buried, and I don't think he's going to stick the rotation, even if he's it's going to be Dyson.
I think they have too many good NBA players.
Yeah.
And I'll add, just with the Nance stuff, he was cool in pain on his Achilles a couple games ago before he missed. So it was, and he's talked about how deep the team is, and he wouldn't play at 80%. He trusts the team to be better, at 100% versus 80%. So. But
which is music to my ears for holding New Orleans Pelicans futures. Like Nance is so key. Like, do not rush back. No need.
100%.
All right, Denver stuff. Michael Porter Jr. The reporting there was kind of interesting, in that he's listed questionable, but he himself said he expects to play. Mike Malone said there would be some minutes restrictions. Michael Porter Jr. said there would be no minutes restrictions. So I don't know I don't know if Michael Porter Jr. gets to make that call. I would think Malone gets to make that call. But he's listed questionable officially. So is Jamal Murray. Jeff Green probable here for the Nuggets, a home game against Portland that figures to be one of the more entertaining games on the slate. Whenever Denver and Portland play, it seems to be really fun games with Dame throwing left and right. Justin, what are your thoughts on the Nuggets side of this, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. tonight?
Yeah, so I have no real trepidation or doubt that MPJ will play. I think that's really slight. He said he'll play, so we have him in right now. We'll see on the minutes. I think the minutes will dictate who wears the pants in that relationship, MPJ or Michael Malone, where it gets up to. So I'll generally be conservative in his first game back. I think it's a natural tendency for players to think they're a full go and no minutes limits, but I expect there to be some sort of limitations on MPJ and him not playing full in his first game back after such an extended absence. Jamal Murray, would think Jamal Murray's back tonight after missing a game due to left knee injury management. He and Michael Porter Jr. both went through full practice on Thursday, though Malone did clarify that there was nothing live during that practice, it was just drill work, but would expect Jamal, MPJ, and Jeff Green to be in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, did the Nuggets hire Dr. Fauci? Because MPJ is not listening to the doctors right now. Anyways, Yeah, it was really concerning to see Jamal miss. A lot of the beats were expecting him to play. This is the Grizzlies game. They were expecting him to play a huge game. They talked about how they're getting up for it, and it meant everything to them, knocking out the Grizzlies, taking away the 1 seed. So it was really discouraging to see him out there. But been off since Tuesday. Jamal plays through everything. Would imagine this 2 days made him feel better. So, yeah, I feel like he'll be in. Probably have a little bit of a soft cap on him, just given it's an aggravation kind of a thing. But, yeah, and MPJ's minutes have to be capped, man. Like, he's been out for so long with this heel thing.
Yeah, that was a fun game with the two teams atop the Western Conference. It was disappointing not to have Jamal Murray or Desmond Bane, but Desmond Bane tweeted the sunglasses emoji. He's listed as questionable on the injury report today. Justin, what emoji analysis do you have for Desmond Bane?
I'll also mention that Ja, before Desmond Bane tweeted the sunglasses emoji, Ja tweeted out 22, which is Bane's jersey number. So the combination of the two with each other basically, for me, makes it kind of a lock that Desmond Bane is back in the lineup tonight. First time he's been upgraded since he's been sidelined, so really encouraging for him. And the beats are expecting him to be back as well. So this would be the first time this season that Ja, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. have all played together. So really excited to see that combination. We'll see John Conchar move back to the bench. We'll see way less Tyus Jones. I think Tyus got up to like 28, 29 or something last game. And then David Roddy should be out of the rotation entirely as well. So, I think excited to see the Grizzlies back at full health finally.
Yeah. 2 notes. One, this isn't the standard Memphis return from injury protocol. It's usually out. They almost always list a guy doubtful the day before the return, and then they list him as questionable in their end. So that was a little weird. But I think it would be, extra day. I think, that they've had 2 days off. They played on Tuesday. I think that maybe is why they're not doing it. And then on top of that, I mean, we just get no updates from these guys, man. I mean, the beats are clueless all the time. We had no idea. We had Jaren Jackson's timeline like it's
only been like 10 years of bad Memphis Grizzly beats in terms of informing the Twitterverse. But yeah,
they do a really good job with the starting lineup. So that one, I think that one guy gets all the starting lineup.
Rob Fisher.
He's the only thing good I can say.
Yeah,
and he's a flamboyant, stylish man. He's got some swag.
Yeah,
we'll note the December 22nd of 2022, number 22 tweets the sunglass emojis. So. A lot of deep numbers analysis there to believe that Desmond Bane is back. If you believe Desmond Bane is back, the props market seems to suggest he's not, for what it's worth. We took a Dylan Brooks under. I think there's other opportunities out there too if you are confident that Desmond Bane is back. Because look, man, some of the guys who've seen big usage in the absence of Desmond Bane probably aren't going to see the same usage when Desmond Bane's out there. Dylan Brooks is number 1, but there's some other guys on that list as well. And we haven't, as Justin alluded to, we have not seen them play. Ja, Jaren, Desmond Bane. You could include Dylan Brooks in that lineup. There's going to be some condensed usage and some compression, and somebody's going to take a hit here. It'll be interesting to see.
I'll just say the players know more than anyone who will play. So Ja tweeting that out.
Yeah.
I think that was before they dropped the injury report that he was even questionable and upgraded.
Yeah.
Like him doing that beforehand is like a tell that,
100%.
Yeah.
He's going to play.
Yeah.
And it's national TV game and national TV game as well too. So I think that kind of works in his favor. And just really quick, man, John Moran had 35 drives against the Nuggets. Just a crazy number I wanted to just add real quick. Okay, done.
1 point per drive. Terry Rozier and Dennis Smith Jr. both questionable for Charlotte tonight. Late game here. Rozier's missed the last few. LaMelo's been outrageous. What are your thoughts here, Justin, on Rozier's availability? And do we see Dennis Smith Jr. back? And if we do, is he in the rotation, or has Teo Maledon kind of earned that role? What do you expect here from Charlotte?
Yeah, so this is a good sign for Rozier. This is an upgrade for him. The last 2 games Rozier has missed, he was initially listed doubtful, then ruled out. So he's questionable now, which is a positive sign. I'm not saying he's going to play, but I think he has a decent chance for once of being back in the lineup. That's notable. DSJ missed the last 13 games with sprained ankle. I think this is the first time that we've seen him upgraded and listed anything other than out on the injury report. So good sign for him. I think it just depends on how healthy DSJ is. If he's 100%, then I would expect Theo Maledon to be out of rotation because DSJ was playing well enough beforehand. He was starting some games, obviously, when they were short. He's earned a rotation spot over Maledon, who was a cast-off. I think he's like on the fringes of like an NBA roster at this point. So I would expect Maledon to be out of the rotation. Obviously, Oubre moves back to the bench if Rozier plays. But you got to note the minutes here. LaMelo got up to 37 plus on Wednesday, and then Gordon Hayward. They
had a non-competitive game.
Exactly.
The other thing was they were down 20 the entire fourth quarter.
Exactly. And Gordon Hayward too. Last 3 games for Gordon Hayward, 35, 37, 36 minutes. So he's back to playing full. Got to note those 2 guys. Their minutes are really getting up there.
Yeah, a few things. Yeah, I mean, Rozier just had a bad fall. Miss a week, come back. Should be back. I think he's going to be back. And I'm with you on DSJ. He was getting so many minutes before he got hurt. LaMelo, man, potential assists are up. He's at like almost he had 23 in the last game. He's been just diming it up. Clifford said they wanted to gear the offense more to him and actually play a little bit faster. Guess who they're up against? They're up against the dead last transition defense Lakers. So A+ Melo spot. Don't foul LaMelo.
the revenge spot for LaMelo. Revenging his family's good name with the Lakers tonight. All right. On the other side of that game, Austin Reeves is questionable. We did get a video of Austin Reeves doing some individual work right before we went on the show. To me, he looked a little gimpy, honestly. He was working on kind of secondary ball handling moves again with a coach as a defender, and it just didn't look as fluid as I think it normally would. Justin, do you have any leans here on Austin Reeves tonight who missed the last game?
No, I mean, the said he remains questionable thing is also a bit iffy because players are generally more optimistic. We need to get like a hopeful or anything like that, which is normal player talk. So that he said he's still questionable, I don't know, not the greatest sign. So they're getting Russ back tonight, so that'll help their depth a little bit to where Austin maybe can sit out another game. But I mean, none would be back out of rotation with Russ probable. And then we'll cut into Lonnie and Beverly's minutes as well. Lonnie got all the way up to 36, Beverly at 37. And we'll mention Schroeder's usage the last 2 games are 2 of the 3 highest of the season, 24%, 36%. Obviously, last 2 games, no Russ, no AD, and then LeBron missed 1 too. But we get LeBron and Russ back tonight. But yeah, I mean, 17% usage for Dennis Schroeder over the first 15 games, and then 30% usage over the last 2 games. He's really benefited from AD and Russ's absences.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the note that you had there about Beverly's minutes being impacted and not noting Schroeder's minutes being impacted, I think is correct as well, in the sense that if Russ is back, I think Schroeder's role is Schroeder's role, which is basically like a secondary or tertiary, if you want to include Russ ahead of him, offensive hub. And the guy who benefited in the absence of Westbrook was largely Beverly and none, not as much Schroeder. I think he's going to play like upper 20s, low 30s minutes pretty consistently without AD because they just need offensive creation.
Yeah, Reeves would be huge for him too. We've seen Reeves take away all his minutes. But yeah, and I think you guys covered it. We can move on.
All right, doubtful outs tags. The Bulls, we mentioned the Bulls last time had the potential to be pretty thin because Alex Caruso was questionable, and they had listed Javonte Green doubtful, and they were without Derek Jones Jr. Tonight, no Alex Caruso, no Javonte Green, no Derek Jones Jr. They do have Dragic back. They didn't have Dragic available that last game. We did see the really condensed minutes. Dalen Terry only played 5 off the bench, so it was an 8-man rotation. Dosunmu got up to 34. This is a game that Caruso left early, and Dalen Terry still only played 5 minutes off the bench. So it was basically like a 7-man rotation. Kobe White got up to 30, Dosunmu 34. Dosunmu hits the game winner. Justin, what are your expectations tonight on how the Bulls look in the absence of Alex Caruso?
Yeah, Dosunmu would start again, more minutes for Kobe White. Obviously, Dragic, I don't think he gets really up there. He's probably like, high teens, somewhere in that range. And then I will note that the big winner with Javonte, he's doubtful. And then Derek Jones Jr. out was Patrick Williams. He got all the way up to 37 minutes. I think we're going to see big minutes from him again. You look at that bench rotation, you kind of sub in I mean, you sub in Dosunmu for Caruso in the starting lineup, and then Goran Dragic for Dosunmu in that second unit, and that's kind of be it. You're going to kind of see the same kind of condensed rotation. We're not going to see Malcolm Hill, Tony Bradley. I don't think we'll see any Dallin Terry because Goran Dragic is back. Big minutes again for a lot of these starters. Patrick Williams at 37, I think is notable. With that, I mean, we talked about this in the preseason pod, obviously, with how I was pessimistic on this team. They just have very little 3-4 depth. Like they have a lot of guard depth to make up for these, musical chairs in and out with Caruso and Dosunmu and all these guys. But like 3-4, you take away Javonte and Derrick Jones Jr. Not a lot there.
And I'll add really quick that Vooch lost a little bit of his rotation because Drummond was kind of cooking. Drummond was out of the rotation for a little bit, and he had a really good impact in this game to get the win. And it was slightly back-to-back related. Donovan said that's why his minutes were down just a tick.
Yeah.
We'll add kind of unrelated to this. Desmond Bane went through full teamwork at shoot-around. So to add to the fact that we fully expect Desmond Bane to be back in the lineup tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah, as Justin noted with Dragic, him coming back, you can see basically Caruso, Terry combined for about 16. Assume Dragic gets about that, basically, and then that's still the rotation. So this box score from last game looks very relevant to trying to project this team today. Okay, more doubtfuls, and on the outside of things, no Dorian Finney-Smith again. Frank Ntilikina got downgraded to questionable midday. Mike, how do the Mavericks handle the absence of Dorian Finney-Smith once again? Still without Maxi Kleber, Jaden Hardy, who was recalled but then ruled out, is unavailable. Josh Green out, and Kemba Walker out with left knee injury recovery as well. How do the Mavs stack up tonight against Houston?
So it should be pretty straightforward. I think they're going to run Reggie Bullock again. You certainly don't need the extra size. They're just going to put Luka on Jabari Smith anyways, because Luka's got the size and height to cover Jabari there. But I put this on the sheet because a comment from Jason Kidd saying that he was looking at Christian Wood playing more minutes, quote, with that group, aka the starters. So we saw him start with Dwight Powell out, obviously, but then Dwight Powell came off the bench. And Dwight Powell was actually really impactful in this game off the bench. And we saw him, we had a Wood over and we missed it bad because Powell was so good off the bench. So I would expect Wood to start, like I mentioned with the 6-man thing. I think that might stick. But we never know. Kid is all over the place with this, but just wanted to note that really quick.
I'll note that the Ntilikina downgrade is pretty notable because they don't have Kemba already. So it gets really thin if you take away Ntilikina as well. We'll probably have to see some Theo Pinson. But what really the impact and takeaway that's relevant for us, it really raises the minutes floors of Luka, of Dinwiddie, of THJ. They don't have much depth. Like you take away Ntilikina, it's those two. It's Theo Pinson and JaVale McGee are the only other two available bodies. So it just like further thins them out and raises the minutes. I mean, we're going to see big minutes from those three guard wings if especially Ntilikina misses.
Oh yeah, and I know I also put that on the rundown. I put that in the rundown. I think it's my favorite time of the day. It's time to tout first quarter bets, baby. Luka over 9.5 first quarter points.
Yeah, minus 166.
Good to minus 500, man. You're good.
Earlier today, when you dropped that note to me, I looked and I was like, I can't be laying this. Get to minus 5,000, as Gallagher says. All right, Devin Booker still out. Josh Okogie and Jock Landale questionable for Phoenix. What does Phoenix look like tonight, Justin? In your eyes?
Yeah, I don't have a ton here written down. We'll just note that Okogie and Landale got up shots at shoot around. Looks like they'll be available to play. But yeah, I think we have a sample. I don't have too much to add. I think it's fairly straightforward what we'll expect. It was Damian Lee probably in there again. The Landry Shamet did play really well off the bench for them. Would expect Lee to stick as a starter.
Yeah, no campaign.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd be pretty confident Shamet off the bench.
It's going to be a hot hand situation between those two guys. Like they fill the same role. So whoever's shooting it well one night can run away with it. All right, guys that are going to come back. We're going to see Wendell Carter Jr. back tonight. I'm excited about that. Gallagher, how do you think it impacts the Magic rotation? #our Magic. 7.5 point favorites tonight. Getting San Antonio on the second night of back-to-back. Another opportunity to stack up a win towards that season-long win total. What are your thoughts on the return of Wendell Carter Jr. and Gary Harris, who are both listed available for Orlando tonight?
So minutes cap on a plantar fascia, that's something you definitely want to trust in. We've seen even the Magic say, oh, like Markelle Fultz, for instance, right? Like, oh, we'll keep him at 15 minutes. He plays 18. Oh, let's keep him at 20. Played like 30 or whatever that one game. So I think they've got to honor the minutes restriction a little bit more here, just given the nature of the injury. Expect him to start. Expect Mo Wagner to move to the bench. They've had similar defensive roles. Bol, I think, is still comfortable in that first unit. We've seen his minutes come down a lot. I think that Paolo Banchero returning and playing a lot of minutes has really kind of cut into him as well. They've been playing Schofield. They've been playing a lot of players to cut into Bol just to figure out their defense and leaning on defense. Their ball pressure has been a little bit better there, but I mean, I'm curious to see.
I see a smirk. I see a smirk on Fan's face that suggests he's got some starter jerseys here.
I don't have starter jersey info, but I will say that I will kind of disagree with that because we've seen the Magic when guys have come back from injury and they're on minutes limit, they've brought them off the bench. And I think in this spot where you've seen the starting lineup, they've won 7 of the last 8 games with this starting lineup. And Wendell, I'm assuming he's pretty freaking limited because he was saying initially that he thought the injury was like a 1 to 2 week injury and then he missing like way more time. So I could definitely see Wendell coming off the bench in this one just to keep his minutes low and just because that's how they've handled guys coming off injuries consistently this season. That the first game or two they've come off the bench, even though they're a long-term starter. So I would caution. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him off the bench. Wendell would knock out Admiral Schofield, and then Gary Harris would knock out Kevon Harris. So I think that'd be the rotational adjustment. But yeah, like if Wendell just came in and just took out on those 16 Admiral Schofield minutes off the bench, would not surprise me at all.
So you think the minutes limit is going to be real tight on Wendell?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
The ramp up has been slowish. There was a story from Kobe Price, I think, recently about Wendell. Since last Friday, they've been targeting this Friday's game for his return. So it's not a surprise he's going. But yeah, I mean, the quotes weren't like super strong. Like Wendell was saying he's feeling better. He's been ramping up his activity. He's doing some live stuff. You'll see how he feels. So I don't know. I think he'll be fairly limited.
I agree. Yeah, I will push back a little. I mean, Markelle Fultz has started every game. You know, Powell started when he came back. What
would you put Wendell's minutes at? What do you guys have him at today? So right now,
I think I said 20.
I think we were around 24, 25.
Okay.
But it's sound. I mean, obviously, if that was expecting starting. If he's off the bench, I think it's immediately like a 20 is what we'd probably go to. Yeah. An 18, 20. We're at 18 with Gary Harris. We're not expecting Gary Harris to start.
Yeah.
To your point. Good.
I hedge with Wendell. I'm at 22 right now with him.
Yeah. Okay. Mo Wagner's been freaking awesome, man. Like he's guarding a lot of really important pieces on the other side. He's been really, really good. Wendell Carter Jr. was asked about his play too.
And they've been winning, like I said, 7 of the last 8 games they've won with this starting lineup. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't feel strong. I don't feel strongly about it, but yeah.
As always, the thesis behind all of these Orlando Magic features that I hold was Mo Wagner. All right, on to the Spurs.
I drafted the wrong Wagner in the my guy draft.
I mean, Franz is unbelievable. No regrets with Franz. Keldon Johnson, Blake Wesley also listed available for the Spurs. I thought that was kind of notable.
He played the G League. Of course, I'm putting him in there.
I don't even want to hear about it. His stat line in the G League. Where, like anytime a guy gets promoted from the G League during the NBA season, they're like, oh, this guy's averaging 27, 12, and 8 in the G League, and you're like, what is going on down there? Does anybody defend down there?
RJ Hampton averaging like 35, 15, and 12 in the G League, and one of the worst players in the NBA. And crazy.
It's outrageous. But Keldon back tonight. Blake Wesley listed available. I thought was interesting. And then the other thing that I noticed, Jeremy Sohan started last night and was awesome.
Yep.
With Keldon back, is that back off the table? I mean, they'll use Sohan all over the place, so they could just slide him down and slide Langford out. But Justin, what are your thoughts on the Spurs here? Because the rotation was a mess last night, but Sohan was like the lone bright spot in the game for San Antonio last night.
I don't think you can bench him after how well he played last night. So I'm expecting that starting lineup be Trey, Vassell, Keldon, Sohan, and Jakob Poeltl. I think the last rotation spot is probably between Malachi Branham and Stanley Johnson, because the other four seem pretty solid to me with Romeo, J. Rich, Zach Collins, and McDermott. So I think we'll see some stability to the rotation tonight. Who would you say has the kind of, I don't know, this is super irrelevant with the last rotation. Do you have Malachi or Stanley ahead in the 10th rotation spot race?
My guess is that we have Malachi ahead just based on minutes, but Stanley's played well.
Yeah,
Stanley got a lot of late minutes. He kind of kept him close late in the game. It looked like it was going to blow out, came in there and put big minutes. So we'll probably just hedge fest.
Yeah,
but two things to note: matchup, big Magic guys. So you would assume they're going to take Romeo Langford out of there and put Keldon in his spot. Like I feel pretty confidently about that. And then secondly, in true pop fashion, gets a question about Jeremy Sohan and about in the second unit after he was benched, comes out there, starts him and smashes. So what a popping.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyrie back tonight. Any notes there that you guys have? Kyrie, Giannis are two big names that are back tonight after missing games. Mike, I'll start with you. Any notes on those two guys?
No, I thought it was pretty obvious. It was just a rest spot. He said he kind of felt some tightness going through shoot around. They aren't doing shoot around today, so we won't get an update there. But he should be good to go. Didn't get listed. It was just like, hey, good.
Watanabe's questionable. We'll also note on that.
Yeah.
So, no Watanabe would mean more minutes, I think, for TJ Warren. He got all the way up to 22 on Wednesday. We'll note that was a blowout and without Kyrie, but good to see TJ Warren, his minutes ramping up a bit. We'll want your thoughts too on since we're on the Nets on Ben Simmons minutes. So got up to 32 last Friday, down to 25 on Sunday, and then played just under 13 minutes in the first half in that blowout win on Wednesday. So his minutes are a little over the place. We've seen 32, we've seen mid-20s. What do you guys make of Ben Simmons' minutes and kind of how he projects what we should expect from him?
I mean, I think it should be pretty. They need him here, right? Against Giannis, and we saw him. I'm curious to see if he's going to take it on into himself, because if you remember early in the year, Giannis put, I think, like 45 on him, or it was in the 40s. So I think they want to play him here. I mean, this is a huge game for them. Jacques Vaughn talked about it too. So I think if he's capable of playing 30, he'll probably play 30.
Yeah, I think they'll be very matchup specific when they dial the minutes up. I think they're going to be pretty cautious on the whole. Like if you asked me to set the over under for his minutes per game the rest of the way, I'd probably be like 27.5, 28. Like I think that's kind of where they want to keep him. But I think for these individual games where they have a big time defensive responsibility that they need him to handle, they'll probably try to ramp him up if he can handle it, would be my guess. And then Giannis probable tag. Any notes there? Chris Middleton's doubtful. We should note we've seen a lot of this team without Chris Middleton this year.
Yeah, so Giannis, all 5 games he's missed this season have been because of that sore left knee, which is what he's listed probable tonight. We've seen some shenanigans in the past from the Bucks with that probable tag, so what to keep an eye on. It isn't some other injury that he's listed, is with that sore left knee, which is kind of perked my ears up a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on Giannis. We saw with Middleton, he's missed, I think, the last couple of games. Marjan Beauchamp has started for him, but he's only played 20 and 16 minutes in those 2 starts. I don't think there's a real winner there minutes wise with Middleton's absence. It's kind of been spread out pretty evenly between Marjan, Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton, Wes Matthews, and Joe Ingles. So don't think there's a real winner minutes wise out of that Middleton injury.
I was pretty surprised that Beauchamp started, given the matchup with the two point guards on the air. I guess you call them point guards if you want, with Donovan Mitchell and Garland. And yeah, just to note with the Giannis thing, if I remember that stretch when he missed 2 games or 3 and 4 games, he got probable before that all started. So yeah, definitely don't treat that. We're expecting him to play, to be clear, but don't just assume he's in. Like if you're going to play him, make sure he's in and starting.
Yep. If you want to bet the Bucks, would wait until we get kind of final confirmation for Bud pregame.
Trey Mann back on the injury report here. Gallagher, I can only note that this is your doing.
Do you want me to
on
go
listing
there?
Trey
No?
Man?
He's on the injury report because he's recalled from the G League, of course.
Is this a G League reference?
Yes, it is.
No, I'll spare you guys. I'll spare
Okay.
you guys.
All right. We'll
I
move
put
to
you
the
guys through
Blazers.
No. About G League. I'm not going to spare you about the Thunder. Come on. SGA, baby. SGA. He gets Herb. He has cooked Herb. 3 games against Herb. He has a 42 usage rate, a 37 usage rate, and a 33 usage rate, 31 plus in each of those games. He likes his spices, and he puts herbs all over him. So yeah, I expect a lot of SGA today. Love him. Could be a fun one. But Trey Man, and despite scoring, I think 35 in a G League game, won't be affecting him.
Save us, Dink. Get this back on track.
Let's move to the Blazers probable tags. The only place we could have gone from Oklahoma City Thunder updates with Mike. Let's move on to Justin in the Blazers probable tags. The new fight on his on his plate.
This is Heat West for me. So yeah, Justice Winslow. Obviously, the probable guys should all play. They're just procedural at this point. Winslow doubtful, so we'll see. I guess we'll see a 9-man rotation now without Winslow. Nurk and Eubanks should account for all the center minutes, and then we'll see more Trent Watford as well with Winslow. I think that's fairly straightforward.
One thing I can add really quick on Nurk though. Right calf injury, right? Just missed some time. He had a right calf injury that cost him time in 2021 and 2018. So I would expect a little bit of a cap on him, even though he's just returning. Just wanted to add that in there.
It seemed like there was one. I mean, only 23 minutes in the last game
100%.
against OKC. So yeah. So we'll be interesting against Jokic and the Nuggets.
Did I cut you off for G League stats, fan? What else do you want to
There's AD stress injury in right foot out indefinitely. So that's interesting. I actually got from a really good source on Monday that they thought it was a hairline fracture. And they were just determining which bone it was. So I'm like, probably one of the best sources I have. But this is interesting. They're calling it a stress injury. They've been vague about it. Like up to this point, he's still been listed on the injury report as sore right foot.
Yeah. Literally the day it happened, they were like, "Oh yeah, the medical team will have an update on you." Like they didn't say X-rays negative, which you get every single time. Like it was so clear that this is going to be a serious injury.
Not good. Yeah, not good. Last thing I want to tackle before we get out of here: the Wizards are on a back-to-back. Unless they filed while we were on, I don't believe they filed yet. Kristaps Porzingis and Denny Avdia both missed last night. It led to a boatload of Corey Kispert minutes, another start for Daniel Gafford. And they brought back Rui Hachimura, which we had a little bit of sweat on as Rui was getting some run with the scrubs late in garbage time as we were trying to avoid an under there. Thankfully, Rui did not take any shots in garbage time. Justin, do you have any feel on KP? It's an illness thing, and
I don't think I saw any quotes yesterday that would make me sway one way or the other. I think just naturally in these spots on the second leg back-to-back, I just generally always expect them to sit the second leg if they got the first leg. So that's kind of my expectation. Just I don't have any specific reads on either of these two. Do you have anything, Gallagher?
No, I got nothing. I think he's a little unlikely here. We're not either on back-to-back, so we're not going to get anything at shoot-around, et cetera. So we'll be in the dark. We'll get that injury report.
Yeah, we'll get a listing in an hour and a half is my guess. Is we'll get a listing and then we'll see from there. Obviously, I noted on our DFS show last night that I thought Walker Kessler was the best play on the slate once Porzingis was ruled out. For a 2-game slate, he was really low owned and it worked out for people. I love going at Daniel Gafford. So the Kings tonight, Domantas Sabonis, who's been on an incredible run of late, would be in an incredible spot if Porzingis sits again. I think the difference in the matchups between Porzingis and Gafford is huge because Gafford keeps you around the basket. Porzingis pulls you away from the basket and impacts a lot of those secondary stats. So that's one that I pay attention to a lot because of the opposing center I'm looking to play, not necessarily Gafford, who was very chalky last night and was underwhelming.
We'll also
super
mention
sharp.
that Josh Robbins said that DeLon Wright could be back in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, I did see that. That's true.
So I guess you would just take on Jordan Goodwin's minutes in that instance. Tough scene because Goodwin's been playing, generally well. For what we kind of expected from him, I'll say, with that caveat. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of add that in there as well.
Yeah, he's run some wing minutes too, and they're going to need him. I mean, you need a ball defender against De'Aaron Fox here. Two other things to add too. Go ahead.
We remember that DeLon was seriously eating into Monte Morris's minutes the season because they preferred his defense. So Monte Morris's minutes definitely not safe anymore if DeLon is back on the mix.
Yeah. I think tonight they'll be safe, but going forward, DeLon was really impactful, and he's just the only guy they have that's like a really good on-ball guard defender. Denny gets killed by really quick guards. A few other things. Yeah, I mentioned Bradley Beal was going to really turn up the heat on driving and the DFS show, and that was right. 23 drives, 18 points off those drives. And Dink, I mean, Sabonis is my matchup cover boy here. 24 potential assists the last game. Last 9 games, 22 rebound percentage. That's the best in the NBA among guys with 7+ games in 28 minutes. Boner time, man. It's gonna be tough for the Wizards to hold him down.
I was I don't know if center stats against Charlotte count as G League stats, so I'm gonna let this go. Okay. But it's basically been that of late when you're a center against Charlotte, unless you're Zubats apparently. But Sabonis has turned it on against Charlotte, and the Lakers would expect the same against Washington, especially if Porzingis sits tonight.
Mike Brown says he is, quote, rebounding the crap out of the ball right now, if you want to fun quote.
I think the only thing, Dink, that we did not cover that I don't see on Gallagher's script was Eric Gordon is out tonight and Garrison Matthews is questionable. Okay. So the Beats fully expect KJ Martin to get the start for Eric Gordon. We've seen him get 6 starts, 13, 7, and 2 in 30 minutes a game. Should see a couple more minutes for Tari Eason as well. He played 29 off the bench last game that Gordon missed. And in that rotation, we've seen Deshaun Nix pull ahead of Ty Washington. But last rotation spot should be Garrison Matthews. If he's available to play, he's questionable. If not, then we should see Josh Christopher slide into that spot. He just got recalled from the G League yesterday. So I just want to finish out with some Houston.
KJ Martin hasn't handled a lot of ball handler defense, so I'm curious to see if they put him on Luka, and I think Luka would kill him. Shout out to 1 quarter over 9.5.
Shout out to your first quarter overs. I would love to see more Tari Eason tonight. Not guarding Luka though, because Tari Eason and his foul rate against Luka could end his night quickly for my guy. All right, that will do it. Over an hour on the Injury Report show. Not surprising with a 14 game slate. Want to thank you all for watching. Hope everybody out there has a great holiday this weekend. As always, support the people who are supporting us. And in this case, this show is brought to you by the good folks over at Underdog Fantasy. They have daily NBA snake drafts running for money in addition to many formats of NFL contests still running for huge cash prizes. I love playing the NFL playoff contest, the gauntlet, the mitten. Get in there. It's super fun. Combination of futures forecasting and DFS. Really fun. We've got content over at ETR on the premium side with Justin Herzig's articles, or on the free side, Justin Herzig and Michael Leone did a pod on the Establish the Edge podcast talking through the format. I love it. If you're playing NBA Pick'em, in-season subscribers can use our tools at ETR to compare ETR projections to their fantasy Pick'em games. And if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, use promo code ETR for a matching deposit bonus up to $100. That's promo code ETR at underdogfantasy.com. We'll also note that if you're interested in a DFS package at Established Run and you have yet to partake in getting one, there's no better time than now. We are running a holiday sale, 50% off NFL rest of season access, 33% off NBA monthly or weekly access. You can check out the subscribe tab at establishedrun.com for details on that holiday sale. As always, if you are uninterested in giving us your hard-earned dollars, even if they are discounted sales opportunities, please consider giving us your clicks. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, get notifications whenever we go live. You can also, of course, smash that like button and help circulate it within the algorithm. It's a big weekend, big holiday dinners, family celebrations. It's time to eat. You feed that algorithm, you feed yourselves, you help us feed our families. Nom, 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 nom. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you.